Welcome once again to the Stadium Journey podcast. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Our website, stadiumjourney.com, is the world leader in sports travel information with reviews of over 2,500 stadiums around the world. And we are more than just an awesome website, about to get even more awesomer. Connect with us on all of our social media channels at Stadium Journey. You can find audio versions of the Stadium Journey podcast simply by searching HIAC Talk Radio wherever you find your favorite podcast. Video simulcasts of our podcast can all be found on Stadium Journey's YouTube page. And our classic bag catalog, we've been doing this for over 5 years, ladies and gentlemen, can still be found at vocnation.com. And if you would like to be part of our live studio audience online, we record live every other Tuesday night at 7 Eastern at danlaw.tv. We got the whole gang here tonight. Dave Cotney's here with us. Follow him online at Profan9. Mark Viquez can be found on the internet at Ballpark Hunter. He's a multimedia empire. He's got T-shirts too.
Yes, they're on sale. Check them out. We'll talk about that later.
Dan Colachico, modeling his New Jersey T-shirt, is here too. You can follow him at danlaw83. And I'm Paul Baker. I'm wearing a simple brown T-shirt. You can follow me at PuckmanRI. And tonight we are very glad to be joined finally by our old friend. He's not an old person. He's been a friend of ours for a long time. Tim Capper, who's here to help us answer that burning question that is on everyone's mind this summer. Can another professional football league possibly survive out there? I'm going to answer the question right now. No, it's not. We'll see you all later, everybody. No, seriously, Tim, welcome aboard. And what prompted this discussion was, I think a couple of us were watching the USFL game earlier in the season, and we were remarking about the lack of fans and the declining ratings and everything. So that kind of spurred the discussion. We thought we would bring our resident football expert here to join us.
I'm glad to be here as usual.
All right, so I guess I did not ask a leading question to spark conversation. So let's talk about the USFL. Started with big hopes, and has it fizzled out or has it been a success? What do you guys think?
I haven't paid attention to it. I hate to tell you. I paid attention to it the first night because it was the Generals, who I supported as a young little lad of 8, 9, 10 years old. And it was a nice game. It was kind of fun to see the Generals back in operations. It was a nice crowd. But after that, I just looked them up the other day. They're 7-1. I didn't know that until I did some research for this night's episode. You know, it's they're on multiple channels here in the United States. They're drawing numbers that, you know, I don't know if they're that respectable. They're better than some other auto racing numbers, but yeah, I haven't watched it. There's not that appeal, you know, and I'm thinking, isn't this the time where they're making announcements of where these teams will play next year? You know, like in their own stadium in their home city. So for me, yeah, it's been kind of a bust. It's out there, but so many things are going on right now that my attention's not on the New Jersey Generals or the league itself. But I'm rooting for them.
Don't you mean the Birmingham Generals?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Everybody plays in Birmingham.
Birmingham General Breakers,
and they will be taking on the Birmingham Stars or the Birmingham Maulers.
Maulers, yeah, yep. No, you're right. You're right. It's like I had a buddy. He actually came up to me right before the season began. He's like, "Yeah, I got a New Jersey Generals shirt and a hat. You know, this is so cool. I can get merchandise now." And it was kind of, you know, and I went on site to look at the merchandise, and the merchandise that I sell looks better. This is very plain. It's like, come on, guys, like have some stuff out there that appeals to you know, your basic white T-shirt with block lettering. You know, so I'm a little bit upset about that. Yeah, to me, it's like, yeah, it's out there, but I don't know. If it went away, I'd be like, okay, there goes another one. You know, bring on the XFL Part 3. So I don't know. It's hard to watch, especially in 2022, teams playing at an empty stadium. And I think they had to switch to another stadium because of a Garth Brooks concert this past weekend.
Yeah, they they've been playing on the new stadium in Birmingham for the most part, but then they just played at Legion Field, which is like it's the historic Iron Bowl stadium, but they haven't played an Iron Bowl there in forever.
Yeah, and I hear that area of town is just not safe anymore.
But you can't expect like Birmingham to support 4 football games a weekend.
No.
Every weekend. Like that's not even a metric that I think we can even bring into the equation. Is the USFL not just like an experiment, a television experiment? Like, can we as television networks make a go of it on our own? Like, it's like slam ball almost, right? Where it's practically done in a studio. It's all owned by one group or whatever. Is it necessary to be playing in different places? Well, maybe, but I guess at the end of the day, can they make enough television revenue to cover all those costs? And if they do go to real stadiums, if they go to Philadelphia and New York and Pittsburgh and all those places, how much more is the expense? Right now, the USFL doesn't own any stadiums. They're not getting a sweetheart deal to play in any stadium anywhere. They're paying rent, right? Plus, you have travel that you didn't have before, I would assume, unless they're doing like the lacrosse model where they're flying people in every week, but I would doubt that. And, is that, are they going to be able to make a go of that? Hard to say.
J-Rod says Birmingham draws a home crowd when they played. All the other teams draw absolutely zero fans in the stands there. It's a bad look and it gives this perception that nobody cares, when in reality, if all the teams play their respective cities, they might draw a decent 10, 15K.
Yeah. You could.
How does it differ from the Spring League, which basically is what this was born from? Spring League played in 2 years ago, played in one hub, and last year they played in two hub cities.
Fox, NBC, USFL. That's how it differs.
Yeah, well, Fox owns part of them.
Yeah.
I want to know the coup, though. The coup that I want to know about is how did they get the game simulcast on Fox and on NBC for the opening game? You don't see that in sports today at all.
It's like Super Bowl 1.
Yeah.
But there's no stakes. There's no real stakes, like J-Rod's saying in the chat. Fox owns it all. There's no real stakes. There's no real end game. It's just it might as well be friends playing scrimmages.
It's the PLL with city names in front of their teams. Really? I mean, how is it different? The PLL will travel, like they'll kind of barnstorm their league, but all the teams are playing in one location on the weekend. They're all centrally owned. I guess I don't know enough to say how individually they're run. But, and Paul, I would like to correct you from earlier. Well, I'll speak for myself. I was not watching the USFL. I've never watched the USFL.
Neither was I. I was trying to make it sound nice and smooth, like we actually knew what we were talking about here.
Oh, okay.
So thanks for correcting me on that one.
Well, I just didn't want to be lumped in with the idea that I watched the USFL.
The only USFL I've seen was while I was in a restaurant. It was on TV, and like you said, there was nobody in the stands.
Yeah.
So that's what sparked the conversation, though.
I was more invested in the original USFL. I remember watching games, having what would be pick'em. When I was a kid, I did pick'em and stuff like that. But yeah, this USFL, okay.
Does it have anything in common with the original USFL besides the initials?
Well, the logos.
Some of the names and logos and whatnot.
Yeah.
I'm sure
all the logos have been updated.
I'm sure if the quarterback for the New Jersey Generals throws 30 touchdowns, that will be the all-time record in New Jersey Generals history, dating back to Doug Flutie and Brian Sipe when they played for them.
Yeah, true, but these are new franchises.
New franchises.
They didn't carry over the.
Oh, they didn't carry this. Okay,
no, no, I don't see why they would.
Well, why not? Why not? Well, maybe not so much with Herschel Walker with his latest political comments down here. I would maybe try to separate yourself from that, but yeah, that's the thing. Like I'm waiting for the news. What about 23? You're not going to play in Birmingham again, or are they?
You can't afford to.
Yeah, I know it's a TV market, but I mean I know it's a TV type of league, but I could see if you played in like who was talking about slam ball. Like to me that makes sense. Everybody plays in this one area, or the fan control football league. Everybody plays in this like specifically built warehouse for that league, and I don't even know where you can find that on TV or the internet. But
Twitch.
Is it on Twitch?
Yeah,
and I'm sure they're doing well on Twitch. But like if I'm watching something on TV, the USFL on TV, and I'm watching Pittsburgh versus Houston, and there's like 5 people in a 25,000 seat, 30,000 seat stadium. That's not going to be that attractive. It's a little disappointing. I don't know. I just don't know where you go from here. You have to have a league where everybody plays in their own market, or you could travel the league like PPL. I don't know if that's an idea they're thinking about, and how would that be accepted?
J-Rod says another problem that is it's just bad football. To lower costs, these players got drafted, rushed through camp, all within a few weeks, so you can't practice much, have zero connection with your teammates. You're just throwing 12 guys out on the field and basically making them figure it out. I didn't even think of that.
It can't be any worse than the FCF, where they have drafts every damn week.
Also, Greg wants to know, does the USFL actually even stand for the same thing, or is it an orphan initialism like ECHL or SID? No, this actually has United States Football League on the bottom of their logo on their advertising, at least from what I've seen.
They do, yeah.
And when I'm explaining the ECHL to somebody who's not a hockey fan, I tell them East Coast Hockey League. So,
to me, it'll always be the East Coast Hockey League. Too.
Yeah. I will call it that because I'm a rebel.
We got yelled at the one time we did a ECHL podcast, Dan, and I got so much hate mail from one guy.
Oh my God! Yeah, I remember that. Okay,
the East Coast Hockey League, is that the league that had the Alaska team?
Yes.
East Coast Alaska team.
Yep.
They still have a team in Idaho and in Rapid City, South Dakota.
Well, that's why they're the ECHL.
The Utah.
But the real telling number for the USFL is going to be TV ratings, and it seems like the Fox game is getting okay viewers, but the others are not overly spectacular. Like 200, between 200 and 250,000 people. That's not great. The bloody CFL gets between 100 and between 50 and 100,000 in the States, right? And that's free programming, basically. So, does the expense warrant those ratings? Geez, I don't know. I don't think so.
I've tried watching so many Philadelphia Stars games, and just the presentation alone, I'm bored. I'm bored the other way, where when I watch NFL games, it's like, holy Jesus Christ, slow down. And this is just... Okay, it's the killing. Okay, I don't know. I tried. I'm starting to just think that football is just not for me anymore. I don't know, guys.
Well, how often can you watch a game that keeps on trying to reinvent the sport by adding all these new rules? Some of them are cool. I mean, but how many times can you say it's innovative when you borrowed it from the AAF and the AAF borrowed it from the Arena League and and so on and so forth?
You want me to borrow the rules from the CFL? Yeah,
Well,
that's okay. You want me to not be bored?
And
Give me the 2-point rule, you son of a bitch.
You'll definitely have no one in the United States watching.
let's think about this for a second.
Get out of here.
So the
From an American
USFL
point.
is new and innovative with their rules. They're trying to improve on something that is numerically the best thing going. That sounds like new Coke to me.
What do you
New Coke
mean?
was good. You mean
Pepsi?
Pepsi?
Pepsi Clear.
Crystal Pepsi, yeah.
But at least Crystal Pepsi had Van Halen in those awesome commercials.
That's true.
That's like when everything was, let's do things clear and tell people it's good for you.
I couldn't get over the mind block of drinking clear soda though.
I
Crystal
got news
gravy.
for you.
Paul,
news
don't
for
you drink Sprite? Oh, okay.
Paul, I got news for you. Crystal Pepsi, it's Pepsi.
Yeah, they
They
brought that back
re-released
I don't like
a few years
Pepsi
ago.
either.
They re-released it. The same year that second run of Ecto Cooler for the conversation we had off air came out. They had the Crystal Pepsi come out the same year, and I actually found some where I saw everybody going, I can't find any. I was like, freaking Crystal Pepsi here. I picked it up. I was like, that's Pepsi. Well, that sucks.
So, looking at the USFL now, this is what I want you guys to think about. And it's just a generic question: is that look at the USFL now. What's XFL 3.0 going to do to improve football once again? But then again, how is the USFL done versus what the AAF did? And so far, all the way back to all the other spring leagues that didn't make it or did make it on and that were on TV.
Now, the way I'm to understand, correct me if I'm wrong, Tim, wasn't the XFL at least attendance-wise and TV rating-wise doing fairly well until COVID? Am I wrong on that perception?
I think it was, from my understanding, I think it was doing okay.
It was doing
Some cities was
fine.
doing well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like St. Louis was supposed to have about 50,000 people at the Dome.
Yeah.
But we all know you have to have the big TV numbers to succeed in the bottom line.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
and how many weeks did that XFL go?
I think two or three.
No, I think no. It went.
No, they went right to the end.
6 or 8.
Really?
Yeah. I want
Yeah.
to say it was almost 2 months, and then it was like, oh, by the way.
It literally COVID. Stop it.
Okay.
But look at you're talking about TV. The new XFL has now announced a partnership with Disney and ESPN and stuff like that. I mean, but I don't think they bought in. But with Redbird being involved, I think Redbird's involved with the new XFL. They got a ton of money. So, what's could be the difference between this football, the USFL, and we have to include the CFL in there because that's another football league too. I know there's a plethora of football players out there, but how? I mean, isn't there such a thing as too much spring football?
Yeah.
Totally.
No,
I
you're
mean,
right.
the evidence is all there that there's too much spring football.
Right. How many? You were just like rattling off an alphabet soup of failed leagues, Tim. I mean, how many did you mention there?
Well,
5 or
CFL's still
6.
going, so
Yeah. Well, the CFL. I'll put the CFL as the only other one that's really been successful.
Well,
I mean, I don't pay attention to any other one, so I will qualify with that.
I love the CFL, but I mean, Tim, you know as well as I do, it's been hanging on by a string for probably the majority of my lifetime, right?
Oh, yeah.
It just seems like that. It's not like what I think these guys are expecting that there's this big windfall and there's this inelastic love for football in the United States.
yeah.
And the promised land is there. You just got to provide more football and people are just going to eat it up. Now, can you think of a worse time to kick off a football league when you're right smack dab in the NBA playoffs and the NHL playoffs, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Like even if you want to be like, hockey sucks or whatever, that's fine. But I mean, the NBA playoffs are no joke. And even though there's no Knicks, there's no Lakers, the Brooklyn Nets are long gone. I mean,
Brooklyn Nets are not that big.
Who cares about those teams?
The Nets
about those teams.
No one's watching the Nets in New York.
well, but
Lakers.
Did the TV executives get the best matchup possible for the finals based on who was available?
Absolutely.
With Boston and Golden State? Like, those are going to be big drawing numbers for the NBA finals, for the NBA playoffs.
You want to go to an NBA final game in Boston? You know how much a ticket is?
But nobody outside of Boston cares.
I don't care either. $1,200 is the cheapest one I found.
$1,200. J-Rod also said that I think until the NFL adopts one of these leagues as a partner and has the ability to send down players that they want to develop, it just won't matter. And that's what I thought. I remember mentioning that on a previous episode. I'm like, wouldn't it make more sense to do not a minor league deal, but an affiliate kind of deal?
World League, hello?
Yeah.
FXFL. Anybody remember the FXFL?
Did they have like a team in the Boston Brawlers?
I actually went to an FXFL game. They had
at Harvard,
Omaha,
Omaha
Boston,
Nighthawks,
Nighthawks.
Brooklyn Bolts. They played at the minor league ballpark.
Was the Omaha Mammoth?
I think they were the Nighthawks, but there might have been another team called the Omaha Mammoth. That actually played in the fall. They actually, I think that was a fall league.
Yes, because I went to a game on Halloween night at Harvard Stadium. It was about 4 degrees out, and there was about 50 people there. I liked their logo. It was like an old 19th century bare knuckle brawler. That was a great logo.
But why would the NFL need an affiliate?
Well, have you seen some of the quarterbacks that stink it up in the NFL? Why not send them down to get some training?
All they have to do is throw out a couple of bucks, and there's a bunch of other quarterbacks that show up. They've got 3 on the bloody roster, plus a practice squad guy.
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, that's why we don't have one.
Why do they need more?
No, it would be nice if the NFL had maybe there was like a lower division where, if you didn't make it in the NFL, you can play somewhere. And you can get some decent football in a non-NFL market, smaller stadium, smaller pricing.
You mean like in Edmonton or in Calgary or something like that?
Yeah, but in the States, I mean, that's a different code of football. I mean, it's very similar. I get it, but I'm just like at one time there was a minor league system for like a kind of offshoot in the 60s and 70s. You had the Pottsville Firebirds. There's a great video on YouTube about that team. And they would play at high school stadiums, and they would pack in some decent crowds. I mean,
was it the Continental Football League?
Yeah, the Continental Football League, the Atlantic Coast Football League. I've had some of my friends' fathers played in that league way back when. And you're like, what are you talking about? Who are the Jersey Jays? And then you look it up. Oh, yeah, they used to play 50 years ago. It would be nice if the NFL had some kind of league where, it wasn't working out for some guys, so you go to this other division to play, and you just kind of test yourself out against other competition. That's very easy for me to say on this podcast because we're talking about contracts. We're talking about guys that are like, I'm not going down to some small little town in Pennsylvania to play football. But at one time, I mean, that's how Johnny Unitas, I think, was discovered. He was playing in some semi-professional team because I think when he was first drafted, he got cut. I think it was Pittsburgh cut him. He wasn't drafted by the Colts, and then the Colts found him, and the rest is history.
What about the European League of Football? They're using all the old World League names.
Oh, that still exists. That still exists too.
The European League of Football.
Yeah.
Is that?
It's going on right now, actually.
That's still a thing. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, it's the second year of it, I think.
I think I just read somewhere that a former Laurier quarterback just signed on with some Swedish team or something, maybe in there.
I don't know if they have. No, I don't know. That may be just regular European football, American. You know what I mean?
Bloomfield Rams. That's who Johnny Unitas played for before going to the Colts. He got $6 a game back in 1958 or 56.
I think for a lot of this stuff, it's all about money too. I mean, I saw some stuff recently for where Alouettes wide receiver Geno Lewis went down for the spring game in Oklahoma where he played his ball, and they sold that damn place out. So you have 70,000 people there to see spring ball.
Yeah,
I mean, that's crazy. I mean, and now you look at the new XFL, which wants to start basically in the depending on where their cities are going to be, they want to start right after the Super Bowl. I don't think any other league did that except for the Arena League when they started right after but that was indoors. But now they're going to play outdoors again in some of these markets in the winter.
Yeah, like in New Jersey, you're going to be freezing your butt off.
Yeah,
I mean, who wants to see football unless you can warm that stadium up, or you get a bunch of people drunk and crazy and bundled up? Yeah, it's not going to be a fun experience. And like my brother used to have season tickets to the original XFL. And he said, yeah, it's cold out there, but, you had a good group of guys that were just rowdy and drinking and just enjoying football. So you kind of dealt with it, but I can't see that happening again. Yeah, a lot of question marks. Any league you start, whether it's a minor league baseball team, independent, an independent basketball league with the, concept, hey, we're going to put teams in non-NBA markets and people like basketball, and we're going to get some local players that were popular in college. It's a lot of money for traveling, for insurance, for paying the players, for day-to-day operations. And then if you have fans coming out and you have 5 people in your stadium, word gets around that, hey, this is not what it's cracked up to be, and then owners start bleeding money and then they fold up shop. It's a tough business to get into, and that TV money is what you need to succeed.
Right, because that might be the big reason why these leagues don't draw big crowds, because there's so much out there. You don't have to truck yourself out to the ballpark or to the stadium to go catch a game and freeze your rear end off. You can just sit on your couch and watch any number of games right now.
Yeah, like for me, like in the New York market, you have the Rangers. If you're a Ranger fan, you're invested in that team trying to make the Stanley Cup. Go Lightning. If you're a Yankee fan, best record in baseball, amazing pitching staff. Hopefully that deflates soon. And if you're a New York Mets fan like me, best record in the National League. So you're kind of focusing on those teams.
Mark. It's June.
Yeah, those teams. Hey, I'll take best record in baseball rather than worse, 12 in a row like the Angels. So, it's
they fired Joe Madden today.
Yeah, they fired Joe Madden. But what I'm saying is, if you're in the New York market, you're like invested in those 3 teams, and NFL, training camp's coming up in a few months. So, and if you're a Jet fan, optimistic, you think your team's going to make the playoffs this year. I don't know. So, that's where it comes back to competition.
If you're a football fan, what's a bigger deal right now? Is it the USFL, which I think some of the folks at Fox were shoving down some of their talk radio people's throats?
Yes.
Hey, Colin Cowherd, you need to talk some USFL.
Football.
Or is it the transfer portal, NILs, Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher peeing on each other? Like even Birmingham, do you think they're talking about the Birmingham, whatever, the Stallions, I think it is? Or are they talking about, what kind of an ass Jimbo Fisher is and how he's buying players for Texas A&M and how Saint Nick is being hosed?
It depends on the market. I mean, if it's Birmingham, it's Alabama football, no doubt. I think. I mean, do you guys honestly believe when you hear from the USFL execs that it doesn't matter how many people that they have in the stands? I don't believe it for a minute.
Well, when those numbers translate to TV numbers, for sure it matters, right? Like, how hard was it for us to watch some stuff on COVID, right? Where there was nobody there, and they piped in sound, and it just wasn't the same. And I think the numbers proved it, right? Like when the I was looking at the CFL TV numbers for the beginning of 2021. They were like the best numbers in like 30 years or something.
Nice.
Because it was the return of the CFL. It was in front of real fans. It was an authentic experience. It wasn't like in front of a bunch of TV screens. And, God bless them. They all tried. The NHL tried real hard. And the NBA tried in the bubble real hard. And they did what they could. But it was not the same. And so much of sports is, to be part of the group. And if you're watching and there's no group, a lot of people are going to stop watching.
Yeah.
I think it's pay too, because you guys are saying that it's the USFL is bad football. Where would is it because of how much they're paying these guys? I mean, we don't know what they're being paid in the USFL. We don't know what they're going to be paid in the new XFL. We now know what they're going to be paid in the CFL with the new CBA just being signed. That's going to be a huge, in my opinion. I think it could be a game changer, because now you're going to be offering $75,000 minimum by the end of the contract, and you're going to have partially guaranteed contracts, which, as far as I know, have never been a thing in the CFL.
I think I saw somewhere in my research that the USFL contract numbers were about between 45 and 70,000. So I think the CFL doing that that was out of necessity, because from a CFL perspective, I don't think they have anything to worry about. Number wise, I don't think that people are going to flock to watch, the USFL instead of the CFL up here. I think the danger is in personnel, that they're going to lose. They're going to lose people. Now they're not going to lose their marquee people, because those people are paid big money.
Yeah.
Right. You're not,
and it's now going to be partially guaranteed.
Yeah. You're not going to lose Bo Levi Mitchell, because he's paid big dollars. Right. He's not going to. The USFL is not going to have the money to pay Bo Levi Mitchell, and he's smart enough to know. Well, wait a second. This is a different game, and I've had a lot of success up here. Am I going to give up my, 6-figure contract to go down there? Probably not.
Gregory Koch says the mistake was piping in sound instead of using natural sound in the empty stadium. When the Orioles hosted the White Sox in an empty Camden Yards due to the Freddie Gray shooting, they didn't pipe in sound in the broadcast with a unique experience and got huge ratings on MLB TV, Free Game of the Day, and Masson. Piping in crowd noise is the sports equivalent of a laugh track mixed with white noise.
Laugh track of dead people. No, I agree with you. The noise was a little silly. But, looking at some of the numbers this year for the USFL, there's been some weeks in the beginning of the season where they had over 1 million folks watching on the NBC broadcast. And I think the most recent numbers, they had 850,000 watching the Birmingham-Pittsburgh game. But then you had a Saturday afternoon game of 228,000 on Fox Sports 1, USA Network 208,000 average. I mean, are those the numbers they're expecting? I mean, that's the question.
Does that make it a success? Because we're looking at those numbers in a vacuum; they don't mean anything. Does that mean it's successful? Does that mean it's making money, or what does that mean?
Those are Arena League TV numbers, by the way. Anywhere between 200 and 500,000 people. So,
does anybody think that there is any chance that the USFL and the XFL both last an entire season where they're competing against each other, when they're both operating?
It would be next year. That's it.
I after 1 year of both, one of them's just going to go. And I don't know.
Or merge.
Yes.
Become the UXSFL.
The UXFL. Well, that will drop that lawsuit from all those people from Axe to
whatever you want, whatever you do if you're merging, don't let like the Rocks people create the logo, because Sue Bird and her crew are gonna fleece those guys.
I don't get that logo.
It's bad, and they stole it.
Yeah, it looks like spray on deodorant.
How do you get away with stealing something, but then stealing something so bad? That's what I don't understand. It's like it's just bleh. So not only did you come up with something bleh, but you stole the bleh. I
stole the bleh.
You're worth a lot more than that, Mr. Johnson. Can you? No.
It's called not doing due diligence. We've seen that kind of crap all the time.
It doesn't matter.
And I don't know. Maybe Dan's excited about the XFL, but when the XFL was talking about
I don't give a rat's ass about the XFL.
Come on. You're always smelling what the Rock is cooking.
I do not care. I don't care. I don't care about his TV show. I said on stream the other night, I think he's an overrated. Oh, the Young Rock, is it good? I've heard people say great, but I don't care.
It's better than Keaton.
The CFL, I hate to say it. The CFL stuff is pretty damn funny. For the 2 episodes.
I missed that. I'll have to see that.
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
I think he's overrated as an actor too. I like The Rock. So Dan, he's fine.
So Dan, what are you saying about The Rock?
Nothing.
It doesn't matter what you say about The Rock.
I like The Rock. I will probably edit that.
But okay, so when the CFL and XFL were having exploratory talks, and everybody was losing their minds up here, there was all this talk about how The Rock was this marketing genius. And I was like, he's done well for himself as a wrestler, obviously. He's done well for himself in Hollywood.
And as an entrepreneur.
But what's the entrepreneur? And maybe I'm missing it, but
his the vodka, is it the vodka? What do you think? His alcohol and his drinks. I can't remember for the life of me for the moment. But
so that's some good marketing. That's some good marketing.
Under Armour. He's the face of Under Armour.
Doesn't even remember what it is.
Well, no, but he's also the face of Under Armour.
Okay, well, is Steph Curry a marketing genius? My kid wears everything that says Steph Curry. I think there are other people who are in on that, but I don't know.
Tequila, Termana tequila.
The Rock's tequila.
Yes.
Okay. After you drink it, you don't smell what anyone's cooking. I don't know. I think to have him as, well, if he's anything other than the face of this football league, it seems to me to be a pretty big stretch.
And then his Zoa energy drink.
I've never even heard of that.
It's good.
But I don't know. Why is there this fascination? Like, why is there this belief that there is this insatiable love for football? Like, I understand love for football. I just don't think it's insatiable.
Well,
I think it's kind of tapped out.
Well, Paul, Mark, Dan, where do you rank football when it comes to sports that you can watch? I know it's only a sampling of 3 people from the U.S., but where do you rank pro football? Well, I'll say football. Football.
Like my favorite sport to watch?
Yeah. Where would you put football within your favorite sports?
Second after baseball.
Okay.
Yeah.
Paul?
Definitely.
Every year I say I'm going to watch less football, and every year I'm glued to my couch every Sunday. So,
but is it pro or college or both?
Just pro for me.
Yeah, just pro for me as well.
And Dan?
The bottom, right above pond scum.
No.
You watch Pond Scum?
Right
Wow.
above the
Yeah, I
Mets.
will
What are you
watch
talking
the scum of the pond grow. No, in all seriousness, it's quickly, and this is mostly coming from a the toxicity of being an Eagles fan. Less and less and less as the years went on. As the older I got, I watched less of it because I was kind of like, I'll be over here. To the point where I watch Eagles games and anything else, I will turn it off. And for a while there, I wasn't even watching the Eagles. So football's my least favorite. Hockey, basketball, baseball, of the four major, baseball, football.
But
Okay.
football has always been it's always been marketed very well because of its scarcity, right? Like Paul, you said it right. I'm glued to my
Yeah.
couch on Sunday. Well,
Right.
you know exactly when it is. Now, maybe being a Patriots fan, you gotta because they're being flexed in and out and up and down.
I don't
and they're
want to
on
watch
Thursdays
the
and
Patriots
Mondays
this
and
week.
whatever.
Yeah.
And you know what else about football or the NFL is that it's the only sport where I will consistently watch other teams that are not my hometown team.
But it's become appointment viewing, right? One of the reasons I think hockey became as big as it did is because it became appointment viewing. It was Saturday night in Canada. That's hockey night in Canada. Saturday night, Toronto Maple Leafs. and now you've got to look it up to figure it out, right? And when you don't have to look it up to figure it out, I think it does that much better. So I don't have to look up to know that the NFL is on Sunday, right? My son wants to know when the Stanley Cup playoffs start or when the Stanley Cup finals start. Nobody knows when the Stanley Cup finals are going to start, right?
July.
It's there's too much change. There's too much confusion. I mean, baseball's the opposite. Baseball's like every day. So, but that scarcity and that simplicity in the schedule, I think, has been so strong for football. Like even in those football hotbeds, it's like, okay, we watch our high school team on Friday night, we watch our college team on Saturday, we watch our pro team on Sunday. You watch the local high school on Friday, you watch the Texas Longhorns on Saturday, you watch the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday. That's
So where do you fit somebody else in?
exactly. And then then you have to look it up, and then you have to know, and then you have to figure it out. And people don't want to figure stuff out.
Does there need to be 12 months of football? Because that's what it is now. Whether it be gridiron, outdoor, indoor, college, pro. I mean, soccer basically goes year round.
Mm-hmm. And I think more people would rather see a soccer team in their market than a spring football league team, whether it's USFL, XFL. I mean, the XFL, I think could have a nice chance in some of the markets since we did see success, such as Seattle. I had some friends I went to Houston to see games. They had a good time. As long as you have some decent ticket pricing, you make it a spectacle every week, which has got to be like the circus kind of atmosphere for the fans. Give them something special. I know growing up going to Generals games and then going to New York, New Jersey Knights in the World League of American Football, the selling point there was, hey, you can't get a Giants ticket unless you know somebody, or you're not going to pay outlandish prices to see a Jet game. These are affordable tickets. You can have springtime tailgate. You can see a laser light show. You can see dancers, because I don't think both the Jets and Giants had cheerleaders back then. So it was really sold for the whole family entertainment value, along with seeing some good football. So it's people keep trying it. Every now and then you're like, there's no way somebody's going to try to attempt to do something again with another professional football team, and then boom, you got the United Football, the FXFL, or the Continental Football League, or USFL, or XFL 1, 2, 3. You can make a whole list and put them in an alphabet Super Bowl, and
I mean-
you'd be shocked. I mean, and people lose a lot of money trying to make these leagues work. And it's great when you have a nice story. Oh, this guy started off in this small league and now he's an NFL All-Pro, but it doesn't happen all the time.
You also look at the location. You're going back to USFL. How many pro teams has Birmingham had?
Yes. Believe in me, they would love to have an NFL team. It's like, guys, can you give us an NFL team? We've had the World Football League. We've had the World League of American Football, USFL. We've had Arena Football, Indoor Football, AFL2. Just give us an NFL team.
Yeah.
And I think that would be a great market for an NFL team. I mean, they would support it.
I think the NFL in Alabama is irrelevant.
Yeah, it's college.
Yeah.
It's Alabama, Auburn, and then UAB, and then Alabama State, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
I'm telling you right now, I would put more. This is just my personal opinion. I would put more effort into watching the Philadelphia Stars if they played anywhere remotely near Philadelphia.
Yeah, that too. Like in Chester.
I know
yeah.
it's even Chester, even at PPL Park or whatever the hell they call it now, Subaru Park,
Superfresh Stadium.
Superfresh Stadium.
I don't know what they call it.
Pathmark Park.
Subaru.
Eagle106.com.
Eagle 106. Yeah. Q102.9 field. No, it's really that simple for me. I've tried to watch this. And then I'm like, I get a few plays and I'm like, there's nobody there. It's Birmingham. And I'm trying to support the team and retweeting stuff because I want it to work because it's another team in Philadelphia. I can argue with every one of my friends in towns that are more successful than me about how much we suck. Shout out to Ralph. Golden State Warriors, I know, whoop-de-doo. I just need it home. I need home games. I need away games. I need the alternate uniforms. I need alternating. I need that. I need that to.
I get that.
You will start me to get me invested. I understand the league had to start this way, but give me something for next year. There's 5 stadiums you can play in Philadelphia. We're in Philadelphia proper. That's just me.
It's not like you're lacking stadiums. Now, can you rent them out? That's a different story.
Depends on how many fans they want in them.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, as we're seeing with a lot of the MLS stuff, bigger does not necessarily mean better.
Right. Fill up a 20,000 seat stadium or have play in an empty 50,000 seat stadium. Okay, so we're coming up against it. So I want to wrap up with just I guess a really simple question, which is the topic of our show. Is there a need for all this football, or can all this football survive?
Nope. Nope. I don't. Not when it's the same. Not when it's the exact same with inferior players. I don't think so.
Yeah, what's the XFL come 2023? What are they going to do different than the USFL? There's only so many rules, as I mentioned before. Only so many rules that you can tweak. Some of them are cool, I will admit, but
Drop a football from a helicopter at center field and start that way, like a rugby.
No,
game.
turkeys. Drop
I was going to say
turkeys from the
turkeys.
helicopter.
No, turkeys.
They're not going to have that scrub again. Like
Oh yeah, what league was that?
that was the original
That was the
XFL. Where's my smash mouth football? They like Dick Buckus ticked off at the NFL. Yeah, you're right. Like, how many innovations can you have? I think it can succeed, but not when you have the USFL and the XFL trying to do things at the same time. You would have to have one league. If you go back to the NASL, that came out of 2 competing professional soccer leagues in 1967 to 68. So you're going to have all the best minds, all the money, all the network being able to say, hey, we're going to put our money into this league. We're going to have to see a certain return that's going to help generate the money to move the league. And if you could develop some players, like if the goal is to develop players to go in the NFL, or is it to have players become stars in that league and prosper? Will the league benefit from saying, hey, so-and-so got to start here in the USFL. Now he's playing for the Giants or the Eagles. What's the goal that they want?
But who's going to know that though? Everybody knows the story of Kurt Warner.
Yes.
That's the thing. It would be a totally different story for Billy Bob to come in from the USFL to make it to another league. He still has to go up. It doesn't necessarily mean he's going to make it to the NFL. He may have to go to the CFL first and then back into the NFL. Or with this new stuff that's out there, these mini camps, these training camps like Hub that are out there, where they bring in free agents and they have big names that's associated with these training camps. And these guys are picked up by these different leagues. So, or go play in Europe. Football's huge in Europe. American football's huge in Europe. Why else would they start their European league again?
That was like a money issue for them because I thought some of those cities in Germany drew well.
They did. Why do you think the NFL is going to Germany this year?
Yeah, no, there's a market for that.
I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
But
all right.
I think just one spring football league.
Yes.
One. Because I think it'll be a disaster.
In Canada.
Well, we're not a spring football league.
That's true. We're more of a summer football.
It's amazing to me that baseball, hockey can have all these mostly sustaining minor leagues and one extra football league, not including the CFL, is a problem. That tells me all I need to know about football.
Yep. But
as far as its popularity, to answer the question.
Didn't MLB just recently contract the minors?
Yeah.
40 teams, but most of those teams
those 40 teams are all surviving. Yeah.
I was going to say they're surviving, and they're in the AHL and the hockey. We joked about the ECHL, but the AHL, the ECHL, they're
and all the juniors, all the junior leagues, too.
All the junior leagues, the SPHL, but we can't get
1 10-week spring league.
We can't get one spring league to lead Birmingham. Is the NFL is a fluke? Question mark.
I think it'll be interesting with the announcement for the XFL and the USFL is done after they play their championship game in Canton. Wouldn't it be interesting if they announced Birmingham as a franchise? Wouldn't that signal the beginning of the end potentially?
Probably.
Well, I thought I saw a list of 10 teams that I didn't see a New York market club, but
so they're not going back. Yeah, they're going to Orlando from Tampa.
San Antonio I saw on the list.
Yeah. I think they're going to go to warmer spots. Did you notice that? If it's spring football after in February, it looks like they're going to warmer spots.
That would make sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And I want to say I saw Washington on that list as well, which is not a warmer climate, but I think a lot of people were surprised by the success of them playing at Audi Field and being at the Commanders, or nobody loves that team as much as they used to. It's a right time to try to take advantage of some younger fan base.
Mm-hmm. And let me pop that Commanders bubble. They are not going to Northern Virginia. Stop it.
Okay.
Not happening.
All right. Well, that's where we're going to wrap things up now so we don't end up with a 90-minute podcast, guys. Tim.
And another thing.
And another thing.
Excellent points all around, guys, but we do have to call it at some point. I do need to go eat. Tim, thanks for coming back and joining us. You want to give a shout-out to your social media presence so our many varied listeners can follow you along?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me, and I'll be more than happy to come back again. You can follow me on Twitter at Repact. It's REPPACT, and if you want to hear the podcast that I've been doing for the last 7 seasons for the Montreal Alouettes fan podcast, you can head over to alouettesflightdeck.ca. All
right, thanks. Let's just run right down the line, I guess. Dan, where can our listeners follow you online?
DanLaw83.
Mark, how about you? And hey, any stadium journeys worth talking about?
I don't think I've been anywhere. I do have some planned for next week. You could follow me at Ballpark Hunter on YouTube or Twitter. You can also check out the Ballpark Hunter T-shirt collection at Old Fort Baseball co.com, oldfortbaseballco.com. We have 2 great shirts designs. I haven't been anywhere, but I'm going to Austin to see my cousin on Friday. So I hope to get to a Sugarland Cowboys game, a Round Rock Express, Austin Weirdos, which would be my first Pecos League team. And I hope I'm saying this right, the Seguin River Monsters. They're Texas Collegiate League, brand new team this year, and they play just north of San Antonio. If I can get to all 4, I'll be a happy camper. But if I could get to 2 or 3 of them and hit some more barbecue stands, that'd make me happy as well.
And follow all that on Ballpark Hunter. Dave, any recent travels, future travels for you, and where can our listeners follow along?
You can follow me at ProFan9 on Twitter and Instagram. Heading to the Buffalo Bisons this weekend. They're playing some weird Happy Face team. I don't know. Never heard of them before.
Socks.
Woo, socks. And then at the beginning of July, it's going to be my first CFL games of the year. So I got the long weekend jam-packed with CFL-ness.
Cool.
Tiger Cats and the Argos on the
Tabbies.
same weekend. So that's going to be big fun, and you can follow that at ProFan9.
All right, let's see. And as far as myself, over the last couple of weeks, I hit a Connecticut Sun game over at Mohegan Sun Arena. Always a fun time there. Very underrated arena, in my opinion. So I had a lot of fun there.
Looks nice.
Yeah, and I was actually at the NCAA Lacrosse Championships on Memorial Day. Got to see Maryland finish their wire-to-wire #1 season with a pretty convincing win over Cornell over at Rentschler Field in Hartford. Speaking of old places that used to host alternate football, Rentschler Stadium was the home of the Connecticut somebodies for one
Defenders,
season.
the Sentinels.
Were they the Defenders? No, the Connecticut Defenders were
the Sentinels
baseball teams. I don't know. Anyway, they played at Rentschler Field in the AA. Was it the AAF? Yes, I think it was.
Or oh god, yeah.
Well, anyway,
I'm getting mixed up too. Yeah.
So I don't really have anything definitely planned over the next couple of weeks. Probably be at Campanelli Stadium, acting as your voice of the Brockton Rocks quite a few times. And aside from that, it's summer college baseball time, so that means hitting up the Cape for the Cape Cod League and the New England League. So I'm sure I'll be doing a lot. You can follow my travels at PuckmanRI.
All right. So they were the New York Sentinels. They moved to Hartford, became the Colonials, and that was in the United Football League in 2009 to 2010.
There you go.
You thought we forgot about those guys.
Where Jay Gruden got his first head coaching job.
Yeah, see, that's
Gridiron head coaching job.
Yeah.
So, folks, remember you can find all of our 2,500 plus stadium reviews, news items, and other featured stories on our website, stadiumjourney.com. Connect with us on our social media channels at Stadium Journey. You can find the audio versions of this podcast by searching HIAC Talk Radio Network, wherever you look for your favorite podcast. Look for video simulcasts on Stadium Journey's YouTube page and our classic back catalog of episodes at vocnation.com. And live streams happen every other Tuesday night. Well, almost every other Tuesday night. It is summertime. At 7 Eastern at danlaw.tv. The reason I say almost every other week, is because in 2 weeks we are taking some time off. We're not going to be doing a show. Basically, you can blame me. My announcing schedule is throwing a monkey wrench into the whole summer routine. We will be back in 4 weeks on July 5th. So, our next show will be in July. And we'll be discussing, the new tax codes and how to best invest your money for the future. Thanks, everyone, for your support, for tuning in tonight. For Tim, Dan, Mark, and Dave, this is Paul, wishing you all safe stadium journeys and close games. Hope to see you on the road real soon. Be safe out there.